You know that feeling when your schedule is like a finely organized disaster?
I think we all know that feeling.
Right. You know exactly where all the clutter is, but you just can't seem to stop tripping over it. Well, if that sounds familiar, then this deep dive is for you. We're moving past the mere concept of the personal, private, and public, the PPP framework, and actually translating it into a step-by-step action plan.
That's right. The intellectual part, understanding it, that's the easy bit.
Yeah.
The real challenge is in the execution, and that's where the stress sticks around.
So today, we bridge that gap. We're providing the specific instructions to stop that chaos.
If you're feeling that perpetual overwhelm, this is the structure to turn that feeling into peace.
And the sources kick off with a really sharp diagnostic that I think everyone should answer right now.
Right.
Which of your three spheres feels the most cluttered?
Is it personal well-being, your relationships, or your professional life?
Just hold that thought.
Yeah.
We are going to give you the steps to fix that. But first, let's quickly recap the spheres.
It's so crucial to revisit the definitions. I mean, the whole framework only works if you apply the right principles to the right area of your life.
Okay, so let's start inward. The personal life. This one is non-negotiable. It's solely about you.
The foundation.
Exactly. We're talking about the core components.
Yeah.
Health, learning, finances, spirituality, your emotions.
And critically, this sphere is guided by your personal values, what's important for your internal stability. That's the only metric that matters here.
Right. Then, moving out from the self, you have the private life.
This is all about connection. Your closest relationships, family, spouse, close friends.
And the guiding principle shifts completely here, doesn't it?
Totally. It moves from individual value to collective consideration. This sphere is guided by empathy and morality. It's about trust.
And then finally, the external world, your public life.
Your role in society. So your job, your duties, your responsibilities as a professional or citizen.
And the principles here are, well, they're entirely external, guided by legalities and professional ethics.
And that contrast is why this is also challenging. I mean, if you're hiring someone for a job, that's the public sphere, you have to use professional ethics.
Competence, fairness, the law.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what if the candidate is your cousin who, isn't really performing? Suddenly that moral obligation to family for the private sphere starts bleeding into a public decision.
And that's the classic mix.
That's it. You have to keep them separate to apply the right lens to the right situation.
That one example just clarifies the stakes instantly. But, okay, let me pose a challenge here, something I think listeners might be thinking.
Go for it.
If I already know the PPP framework, I get the 3 definitions. Shouldn't I be able to just do it? Why do we need a formal 6-step plan?
That question, it hits the absolute core of the problem. It's the gap between knowing something and actually changing your behavior.
Abstract knowledge versus habit.
Precisely. You should exercise, but unless you actually schedule it for 6 a.m. on Tuesday, that knowledge just floats around. It doesn't become real.
Inertia wins every time.
It does. We're wired to take the path of least resistance, and often it's just chaos. So without concrete habits and boundaries, the stress from the public sphere,
Which is always the loudest.
the loudest, yes, it will inevitably leak into your quiet, private, and personal spheres. The clutter sticks around because there's no action plan.
And we see this perfectly in that anecdote from the source material about Arjun, the corporate leader.
Yes, Arjun is the poster child for this.
Yeah.
He understood PPP on a whiteboard, but his actual life was still a mess.
His job stress was just polluting his family time.
Constantly. He knew intellectually he needed to be present with his family, but there was no barrier, no habit. So the anxiety just came home with him every single night.
So his solution wasn't some big conceptual breakthrough.
Not at all. It was a simple, physical boundary. The moment he enforced the rule, no work calls or emails after 8 p.m., everything changed. His private life dramatically improved.
So the concept was the map, but the boundary was the car.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay, that transition from knowing to doing is what we're focusing on right now. We've distilled the 6 sequential steps from our sources. This is the 6-step PPP action plan.
And step 1 is where the real work begins. You have to do this first. Audit your life.
This isn't philosophical, right? It's practical.
Extremely practical. You list out every single regular activity. Work meetings, grocery shopping, gym time, scrolling on your phone, everything. Then you assign each one strictly to personal, private, or public.
I can see some ambiguity coming up there. What about, say, a professional dinner I have to attend with my spouse? Is that private, public? Both.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The source material says you assign it based on the primary guiding principle.
Okay.
So that dinner is primarily driven by your job, by professional networking. That's public. Your spouse being there makes it important to your private life, of course, but the purpose is public.
So it's about the primary driver of the activity.
Exactly. The goal here is just clarity, not perfection. And this process immediately shows you where your time is actually going.
That clarity leads right into step 2, which is set boundaries.
Right. Knowing what you're doing isn't enough. You have to define when and where. This is about physical and time-based limits.
Like the classic example, no office emails during family dinner.
Or, could be a physical one. My home office doors close from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. Or a time-based one for your personal life. The first hour of my day is mine. Non-negotiable.
It's about practicing the power of no.
That's all it is, protecting one fear from another.
And speaking of that, step 3 focuses on that personal foundation. Prioritize pillars.
Yes, the material is so clear on this. If your personal life isn't stable, the rest is just built on sand. And the sources point to 5 specific areas to strengthen.
Let's list them. Body, so physical health, intelligence learning, finance, spirituality, and emotions. Now, hold on. Why is finance considered a personal pillar? I would think that's tied to my job, which is public.
That's a really critical distinction. Your public life might generate the income, but your personal life dictates the stewardship of that money.
Ah, I see.
If your personal finances are a mess, you're in debt, you spend impulsively, that stress immediately bleeds everywhere. It destroys your focus at work and creates anxiety at home. So finance as a pillar is about personal security. It's foundational to the self.
That completely recontextualizes it for me. Okay, so once that personal foundation is stable, step 4 is about the private sphere. Communicate expectations.
Yes, a boundary in your head is useless. You have to talk about it openly, empathetically with the people closest to you.
So if I decide I need an hour of solitude every morning.
But you don't explain why to your partner. They'll just see it as you pulling away, not as you taking care of yourself.
Well,
Communication turns a wall into a shared agreement.
makes sense. Moving to the public sphere, step 5 is clarify roles.
This is huge for preventing burnout at work. You have to have a crystal clear, maybe even documented understanding of your duties and responsibilities.
Because ambiguity is the killer.
It's the fastest way to blur the lines. You start doing favors, taking on tasks that aren't yours, and that leads to resentment and exhaustion. Clarify, define, and stick to it.
And finally, the step that makes this all sustainable. Step 6, reflect weekly.
This is the accountability mechanism. You just need to carve out, say, 30 minutes on a Sunday to look back at your week.
And the key question is a simple one.
So simple, but so powerful. Did I mix spheres this week? And if I did, how can I improve that boundary? It forces you to catch the small weeks before they become big floods.
So we have the plan, 6 steps, but we know implementation is never that clean. What are the big roadblocks, the pitfalls people should actively try to avoid?
The sources point to 3 really common, insidious ones. The first is trying to please everyone in your relationships.
Oh, I can see how that just destroys boundaries immediately.
Instantly. If you're trying to meet every need from your family and friends and your personal life, your own pillars get sacrificed first, every single time. You can't be a stable foundation for others if you're crumbling.
And the second major mistake.
Bringing personal emotions into public decisions.
Right, back to the guiding principles.
Exactly. If you let personal resentment towards a colleague influence a professional decision, you're violating professional ethics. You're mixing spheres, and that's how you get public sphere disasters. It destroys integrity.
A recipe for organizational failure. And the third mistake, it seems to connect right back to the central theme here.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
It's ignoring personal health while chasing career goals. This is probably the most common pitfall in modern hustle culture.
And the sources have that powerful story of the young entrepreneur.
The one who wore burnout like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
He saw his personal health pillar as, optional: sleep, diet, exercise. Those were luxuries he could skip because his business was everything.
And then what happened?
After years of that, he got seriously ill. And the cruel irony was, his illness didn't just sideline him. It brought his entire company to a grinding halt.
Wow.
It's the ultimate reinforcement of the PPP rule. Your personal life is the foundation. When it cracks, the whole house comes down.
So, pulling all this together, the audit, the boundaries, the reflection, avoiding the pitfalls, what's the ultimate payoff? What's the big return on investment for someone who adopts this lifestyle?
The sources define it as peace of mind and fulfillment. But, and this is crucial, it's not a solitary thing.
What do you mean? How does that internal peace become external?
Well, when you stop all that internal friction, when you're using the right values in the right places, you achieve a kind of wholeness. And when a person is stable and clear, they radiate positive energy.
So that internal structure becomes visible to others.
It does. You become a better partner, a more focused colleague, a more present friend. The fulfillment is amplified because you're operating from a place of clarity, not from a place of exhaustion.
That reframes the whole thing. This isn't a selfish act of separation. It's the structure you need to be the best version of yourself for everyone else.
Absolutely. The structure is the prerequisite for that stability.
So the key takeaway from this deep dive is that the PPP framework is really a structured lifestyle. It means moving beyond just knowing the definitions to rigorously separating your spheres, setting real boundaries, and using that weekly reflection to stay on track. This is the path to a life of clarity and meaning.
And if you're listening and you're ready to take that first step, think about this final provocative thought. Fulfillment begins with structure. Don't get overwhelmed by the 6 steps. Just look at your 3 spheres and identify one concrete boundary that was violated this past week.
Just one.
Just one. Implement that single boundary right now, today, and just watch the peace begin to settle in.